Right then guys, I have just, well, a few minutes ago applied all the paste to the back of this lining paper. So what you want really is, so it's sunk in, basically you want it to be a bit floppy. All I've done just to kind of help it kind of soak in is just folded it over. When you've got a bigger piece, you'd use the kind of concertina method, but for my purposes it's a fairly small piece. Anyway, so I've got a straight edge over on this side, so this should be relatively straightforward. So go up on the old ladders. I don't know if you can see over here, but essentially I'm butting the straight edges from my previous one together as close as I possibly can. If there's, ideally you don't want to have any overlap because you'll get a slight ridge. However, if there is a slight gap, then what you can do after it's kind of dried is just apply a little bit of polyfiller to kind of bridge that little gap and just polyfiller it. So I've got it lined up on the edge. I want to get the kink out now, just by putting it back on myself and just working it with my hand in the first instance. What I want to kind of do as well, and people use little matchsticks in these so you know where the holes to be located, but what I've been doing is just getting a general idea of where they are and just pushing my finger in using a chopstick and just poke through once I've got it set. So here we go. I've got my straight edge, quite happy with it. There's a little bit of a gap, but nothing too terrible. And just go over, get it nicely tucked in. What I like to get then is, this is actually like a tool that I've used for I'm an application on vinyl. It's got like a hard plastic edge and like a soft kind of, I guess like velvety, faux velvet. You probably get a bigger one of these, but I just like to really tuck the paper right into the corners. I'll probably trim it after the fact, but yeah, I can't see any bubbles, but I do it mainly to get right up here. And if there's any excess, which there typically will be, you effectively just take a blade, which I'll show you in a sec. Sometimes I even just get a slightly damp, sponge, and just give it a nice rub essentially. Push it all the way in, all over there. Quite happy with that. No lumps and bumps. If you're wondering why I'm only doing a length section like this, said I've got kitchen cabinets, there's no point in lining the whole thing if your cabinets are going to cover it. That might start to seem a bit lazy, but it's just a waste of materials, I think. So yeah, essentially now, can I find the tool? Yes. Get one of these, can't remember what it's called. I think it's a papering guide, hard edge. It's all right up here. Essentially, if you see any excess where you want to just trim it back, push that nice and hard, make sure you've got a nice sharp blade, and just run that along that edge using your guide, and as you'll see, that little slither has popped off, and then I just tend to just rub my finger just to get it nicely tucked up here, nicely tucked into the corner, and that is quite nicely cut, so I haven't got any overlap to trim there. So yeah, in essence, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing there. And like I said, cabinets are going to hang. Cabinets are going to hang from about there. So I've papered essentially what's going to be covered by the cabinet anyway, but the width of the piece of lining paper was quite, well, it was 80, what is it, like 55 or something. So yeah, so that's essentially what's going on there. And so that's what I've achieved today, and I just need to do around these sockets, and then I'm going to line this wall as well, just because there's a few like little bits of like bashes into the plasterboard, so filled them, and I'm going to line them just to give it a nice tidy finish essentially. So yeah, hope that was helpful.